Welcome back, everyone. As promised, welcome back to the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast. NFL Schedule Release Edition. Here with my good friend, Zach. Zach, thanks for being here today, buddy.
How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Good to see you, man. We got to talking quite a bit while we were getting our topics together. And we're calling this episode East Meets West because Zach is a huge fan of the Los Angeles Chargers. Myself, as you can see, a New York Giants fan. And we're gonna dive right in. Gonna start with my team, gonna hit back to Zach. New York Football Giants schedule. I appreciate the 3 straight home games. The last couple of years, it seemed like we didn't even have back-to-back home games. Not digging Green Bay and London. I was a little pissed off. I was looking forward to honoring my dad by seeing my team play his, but we're going to alternate that. I'm actually going to be attending the Patriot at Packer game, so that's actually still going to work out pretty cool.
It'll be a good game.
Absolutely. Thanksgiving at Dallas. We also play them earlier in the year on a Monday night. 5 of our final 7 games against division opponents to end the season, according to the schedule makers, the 3rd easiest schedule. And we're going to introduce his guys here. The Los Angeles Chargers schedule. Got that revenge game against the Las Vegas Raiders. LA versus LA. Statement game. Late in the year. That's going to be New Year's Day against the world champion Rams. And according to the schedule makers, you guys have the 10th most difficult schedule in the league. So, what stands out to you here? I imagine it's got to be that opener against the Raiders, given how things ended last year for you.
I cannot wait to beat the shit out of the Raiders, man. I think we are going to kill them opening day. I think it's a great start to the season. I think we're going to go 4-0. I think we're looking good. And 10th most difficult schedule, I don't know. That doesn't feel right. I don't think it looks that bad.
Well, so much changes in the NFL on a year-to-year basis, so I don't always feel that win percentage and all that shit truly matters when it comes down to it. I mean, there is some validity to it. My particular division has been weak the last few years, and that's part of the reason why our 4 teams are considered to have the easiest schedule, because essentially we play each other. In your case, I see a 3-team race. If this conversation happened a year ago, I would be like, yeah, your division might send 3 teams, but it's the Chiefs' division. With the departure of Tyreek Hill, you guys got some star power on defense. You know, you picked up Khalil Mack, Forgotten name. You haven't heard his name in a while.
I know.
Justin Jackson, secondary.
Justin Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, you guys.
I think we're looking good. I'm excited.
You should be. You should be. They're talented, dude. Very, very talented this year.
I think we have a chance to go pretty deep in the playoffs, and I hate saying that as a Chargers fan because they always end up disappointing me. But
I get it, man. They had some great teams in the not so distant past. We're gonna obviously divulge into this a little more. I'm just gonna give you my 2 cents on this here. As I already stated, bummed about the Green Bay game in London. It is what it is, but we are undefeated in England, so that might be a good omen.
There you go.
I'm digging the 3 straight home games, and I'm also digging the fact that our longest trip in the country, because England would be our longest trip, that would be Seattle, followed by a bye week. Schedule is relatively soft the first half of the year. Second half is where it's going to get real when we play the majority of the division. And, the hated Eagles definitely made a lot of quality moves. What did you think about overall your team's draft? That's obviously huge. before they report for training camp in the preseason?
I think we did. I think we did what we had to do. I think we filled the spots that were needed. We weren't really lacking anywhere. We had the guys we needed for the most part. I think overall draft an A, but didn't need to go anywhere. So anything's good. Honestly, I could be happy with anything. I do wish. I think in the 7th round, I wish we would have taken a chance on Justin Ross. I think he has a chance to be good. I know he's a liability. He has a 2 fused vertebrae, I think is the injury. But I don't know. I think he has a chance. I think we need a third or fourth wide receiver. Definitely a slot. Keenan could have been working in the slot. We took another wide receiver. I don't know. I think we missed out.
I myself was very intrigued with his skill set. We made a controversial, but in my opinion, a solid pick with Wan'Dale Robinson. Some of the big feedback from a lot of the fan base is that he's too short and that we reached. But in today's NFL, I don't necessarily think height is as valued as speed. Speed is what kills, and speed is what gets it done. And I feel that when you have the more dynamic playmakers on the field, good things happen. I myself wanted Nakobe Dean, even though similar to the guy you wanted. Very serious injury history. Likely he's going to miss time this year. He put off surgery. I think the thing that stung me the most is that our most hated rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles, picked him up. In terms of just pure football IQ, sideline to sideline guy, and just understanding how to read an offense, I do see this kid as a legitimate captain of a defense. And I think that once he gets his health right, he's going to be legit. So, I got to be fair. Philly got a damn good player, but I understand why the Giants definitely veered away from, taking that chance. And I could kind of understand at the same time. And your guy was more of a serious thing than even the guy I wanted.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to kind of go round robin, throw one back and forth. So we'll start with my team and we'll go back. But we got some Giants questions. This is a huge one. Can our quarterback, Daniel Jones, be the franchise guy? What are your thoughts on that?
I think he could be, but I don't think he's going to get the opportunity. I think they're going to let him go and take over some dying franchise that needs his help. I think he's a decent player. I think he has shown the abilities. I just think, I don't know, the team that he's always surrounded by is getting injured, or they're not performing, or just he didn't really have no line for a long time. Mm-hmm. Defense wasn't there. Can't win without defense. I don't know. I just don't think you guys are going to resign him. I think you guys are going to let him go next year. Hopefully, while being in the opportunity while being in the spot to take a quarterback in the 2023 draft.
What I find interesting about the way the Giants played this is they're taking a chance on not betting on him, because if he has the kind of season that would make them want to reinvest, and by the way, I support them not picking up his 5th-year option, not because I don't believe in him, but because there's too much uncertainty and unknown. And some of that is actually the responsibility of the organization not giving this kid the best shot. I will say this. I almost feel that if the kid balls out, the Giants would be happy to pay him more than what they would have given on the qualifying offer for the 5th year. It's almost like a $15 million gamble they're making if he does pan out, because he's still going to get picked up if he pans out. Now, there's a lot of variables that would question why and if he could pan out. The number one question, I think you already alluded to it, it starts right here. Is the O-line really fixed now? They picked up solid, possibly the best lineman in the draft in Evan Neal. Could play both sides of the line. Possibly might slide Thomas back over to the right. Mark Glowinski, solid guard from the Colts. They did pick up Max Garcia as well as John Feliciano. Complete makeover on the O-line, with the exception of Andrew Thomas. I myself think that they really finally put it together the proper way. And, the O-line, obviously keeping Daniel Jones upright and not having to do too much with his legs. That's obviously important. But this is the other side of that. This is the guy that runs behind that line. And I do feel that with lower body injuries, it truly does take 2 years to get back to form. And I guess my question is, can he be that dude that he was back in 2018? Or at least some of what he used to be, just to be more successful and help this team win some games? Saquon Barkley.
Personally, and I hate to say this, being from Pennsylvania, I heard about him a lot with Penn State right next door.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I don't think he can do it, unfortunately. I think he's going to have a long, drawn-out career at multiple teams. I think he's going to play decent, but I don't know if he's ever going to be back to how he once was, because he used to be next-level superstar type of player. I don't know.
I think part of his problem is that he's relied too much on his athleticism and doesn't always take what is given to him, because not every run is meant to be a home run to the end zone. Sometimes you got to take the 3 or 4 yards.
Going.
Yeah. Sometimes, and I think that Barkley has struggled with reading where the right block is. Now, granted, the O-line has been bad. That's affected him. It's affected Jones. The health of the team is always a big one, but no, I don't expect him to have the kind of season he did in his rookie year. And to be honest, if he did, that means that he's doing too much, and that means that there's not other places to go. On paper, this team's talented. Ultimately, I think it comes down to health, of course, and just player development. One thing that I do feel good about is that this same regime helped groom Josh Allen into a superstar. And Josh Allen was not a superstar just jumping into the league. It was work.
First year.
Yeah. It took time. And the fact that they're trying to implement what worked in Buffalo with Daniel Jones, I think he's got a puncher's chance to kind of rewrite his story. But ultimately, it's going to come down to not just his play, what's going on around him, because, it's a team sport, and the Giants have been missing too many people for too long.
Absolutely.
Almost done with these Giant questions, and then we're going to talk about the Bolts. Can my guys survive in that secondary without James Bradbury, our best corner? Overpaid him. Basically, his cut provides the money needed to sign the rookie draft class. So I understand the move. I actually support it. Once again, I hope you don't go to Philly. And I know you don't want him to go to the Raiders, but I'd prefer he goes to the Raiders. You're probably like, let him go to Philly.
100%.
And both of us are logical with that. But it's a tough loss, but this is not a Super Bowl team. So I feel that it's the right move right now. And it gives the kid from UCF, Aaron Robinson, a chance to possibly become that corner to replace Bradbury.
Yeah, I feel you guys are going to be 100% okay while losing him. One second, I'm just looking up his age. With cornerbacks specifically, I feel like they are a very young position. And then once they reach their peak, their decline is almost immediate.
No, you're right, dude.
Something about the cornerback position that they get really good at for 1 or 2 years, and then all of a sudden they fade away immediately.
I would say that the only position comparable to the decline that happens like that quick would probably be running back,
maybe.
For sure. 100%. But you make a good point, because when you think about great corners, your Darrelle Revises, your Deion Sanders, for guys sometimes to hang around longer, it's almost like they got to go to the back part and maybe play safety, because there's certain things that are lost where they can't play guys on that one-on-one man coverage. But I'm going to tell you why our secondary is going to be all right. And it's not because of Aaron Robinson. or whoever replaces James Bradbury. This is why. Not exactly a math guy, but 51 Ojulari plus 5 Thibodeau equals 56 Lawrence Taylor. As a Giant fan, that's a good juju, good energy. Can they bring this Giants pass rush back to the glorious days of the Justin Tucks, the Michael Strahans, JPPs, even going back further to the Lawrence Taylor era, the Crunch Bunch? Remains to be seen, of course. Got to play the games, but one thing I'm a firm believer in is if any football team for that matter, has a legitimate pass rush that constantly gets to the quarterback, you can compensate for not exactly having an all-world corner. I think that would be the best way to explain that. And I do have a high belief. Ojulari last year broke the Giants' rookie record in sacks. A bright spot on a very bad team. And now you combine him with possibly the best pass rusher in this draft. That remains to be seen. You have Hutch. You've got Trayvon Walker. They're all going to be great players. But I feel that the Giants got a good one here with Thibodeau. And Michael Strahan volunteering to essentially be his mentor, that's a good look on a lot of levels. The kid paid for the number from Graham Gano, and they decided to donate it to service animals for first responders and war veterans. So it's definitely a good look coming into New York City and doing something charitable to get the number, as opposed to, and Gano told him, do it for charity. So it's a good look on the kicker's part, not taking the money, wanting to do something good for other people. So I like it. So far, so good.
Yeah, I think it's a good omen. I think you guys are going to have a great pass rush.
Yeah.
Can't say that.
Yeah, I know.
Words are hard, man. But I think you guys should be good this year, honestly. I think it's going to look good. And especially in a league where you can't let the quarterback have time, you're going to be blitzing more and more. So
because they make enough rules to make the quarterback's life easier. That's why having that pass rush is so important. We'll get back to my guys towards the end. Time to talk about your guys.
Time to shine.
This was my own personal question for your team. And you have at it. We're talking about your boys now. Justin Herbert.
I think 100% Justin Herbert can reach that elite level. I think it's worth putting money on Justin Herbert for MVP this year, 100%. I'm honestly, as a Chargers fan, he is the last thing I'm worried about. I think he's shown time and time again that he can make throws, he can run if he has to. It's usually the people around him that fail him for some reason, as it is with all Chargers quarterbacks, honestly.
And I want to make a mention. The reason I didn't put Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady on this list is because they're dinosaurs, and everybody knows what they bring. And not to shit on Lamar, but the reason I didn't put him up with these other three kids is because I feel that even though I respect Lamar's game and he brings a great intangible, I don't view him as the same kind of passer in key moments as these three guys, nor the winner in the playoffs. Allen is still working on it. Mahomes has a ring. Burrow lost the bowl last year, but went on a cool run. This is about your guys. So getting to Herbert, that game that you lost to the Raiders last year, no fault of his, he completed. I was something absurd on that last drive. It was like,
yeah, he was like 8 out of, I don't even know what it was. I think it was like 8 fourth down conversions in a row.
It was pretty remarkable.
Something that he shouldn't have to be doing. And
then to lose the way they lost after he put out that kind of performance. I mean, I didn't have a dog in the race, but my sister's man in New Jersey is a diehard Raider fan. My late father's best friend, my uncle Randy, diehard Raider fan. But honestly, it wasn't so much like I had a horse in the race. It was just a fun game to watch, and it's a game I really remember. But I think I'm with you on Herbert. I mean, he was the rookie of the year over Burrow. Granted, Burrow got injured. Burrow got a leg back up on him coming off an injury, taking his team to the bowl, almost winning it. I have Mahomes as the guy because you have to. He already won a bowl, league MVPs. And then I would say right after that, Burrow and Herbert have kind of closed in on Allen, but Allen is still number 2 for now. I say these 2 former rookie class guys that were together, it's like a coin toss right now with how close both these players are. And this is Herbert's chance to put his name in there. And Allen too, because the other 2 guys have been to a bowl. I mean, Burrow going to the bowl was kind of shocking. Allen lost that heartbreaker to Mahomes based on special teams, no fault of his own. But, man, it's weird. It's like all the young dynamic quarterbacks are in the AFC. And in the NFC, you got the dinosaurs. You got Stafford, you got Brady, you got Rodgers.
Yeah, really.
Then you got my boy Daniel Jones, who's going to be a superstar this year. But one can hope. One can hope. But all right, I think we answered that one. This goes into that whole no fault of Herbert. Yeah, you already know where I'm going.
Game.
Yeah. A couple of things.
I think. Go ahead.
No, this is you. You got it.
Honestly, I think Brandon Staley's going to be okay. He showed, to convert, what was it? I don't know. I think it was 8 fourth down conversions.
The players like him.
8.
Players like him a lot.
He seems to be a good coach. Every first year is going to be rough, right? Can't blame him too much. So I think
players definitely like him. Remains to be seen. I try not to. How would I say this properly? I try not to let a couple of things that go noticed by coaches put them in a category because some of the best coaches in NFL history do things where they just grab their balls and like, I'm gonna fucking do this, and it don't work out. Bill Belichick has done that before, and he's still considered the greatest coach ever, or one of the greatest coaches. A lot of great coaches. That's part of being a coach, because when you're right, you're a hero, and when you're wrong, you're a goat, and there's no in between. So I can't really crucify him completely. Let's just say, given the situation in that Raider game, I don't think I would have done what he did. But it's easy to say when you're sitting on the couch. You guys got 2 dynamic receivers? I was thinking maybe we could pair them a little. Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, the duo. Can they be elite in terms of wide receiver productivity, like comparing these dudes to – because the truth is, you have a star and then you have somebody good. But I noticed the trend around the NFL, with maybe the exception of Tampa, and I take into consideration that Brady's throwing the ball. I don't necessarily view Chris Godwin as a superstar. I think he plays on the right team. But as a duo, can they put up those elite numbers with that great quarterback they got? I think for one they can. Yeah.
I definitely think they have the capabilities. Honestly, Keenan Allen's he struggled with injuries in the past, so he's scary. Mike, he's hard as a Chargers fan to watch, because some games
he's also hard
he'll completely take over.
Fantasy owner.
Exactly. Some games he'll take over, and some games he's gonna drop off and disappear into the black and fade away. But I think, I don't know. Honestly, speaking of fantasy owners, Gerald Everett, keep your eyes on him, because I think he's going to get a lot of touchdowns.
Tight ends' lives can change when they're at the right quarterback.
100%.
My take on these 2 guys, I view Keenan Allen as a pro's pro. I view Mike Williams as a guy who, even though I know how capable he is, he still has a propensity for kind of disappearing at the wrong times. So I would say Allen is the lead horse in this duo. But one thing that both these guys are going to benefit from, as well as the quarterback, is the running game. And you do have an excellent running back in Austin Eckler. You also have some decent help with guys that could spell him. So offensively, I think you guys are not going to have too many problems moving the ball. Ultimately, you made a good point with the draft. You were like, we basically nailed not the most splashy moves, but positions of need. And sometimes when you draft players, it's not always about having the splashiest move. It's about just getting the right people for the system. But, Khalil Mack is a little splashy. I think he's like a little under the radar because, a couple of injuries.
I think people forgot about him when we traded for him, honestly. I was like, oh, my God.
Last year
Khalil Mack,
you heard about Von. Right. Because last year you heard about Von Miller. And this dude has to be motivated. Playing against the Raiders, the team that got rid of him, they just flat out traded his ass. He didn't even want to leave. Yeah. And that's when they were still in Oakland. A lot of storylines in this division, this AFC West, because, the Chiefs, they just lost Tyreek Hill, which in a lot of ways I feel opens up the door for your team and the Raiders. But ultimately, I have a feeling that 3 of these teams are going to be playoff bound. It really is a competitive division. I mean, shit, bro, you got former Super Bowl winner Russell Wilson, and nobody's even talking about that. I like Russ, but with the Jerry Jeudy arrest today, you had actually sent me that article. I read it. I love Melvin Gordon. I like that they're bringing him back. They got that kid Williams. The defense is good, but in this particular division, because of how stacked it is, I still don't like Denver. I still think they're a last place team, but they're like a good last place team. If they're gonna, you can't go 500 anymore with the 17th game unless you get a tie. But I'm gonna say that Denver's gonna be right in the middle. I don't think good enough for the playoffs, but they may very well beat each of your teams. Each team. It's a very competitive division, ultra competitive. I have a feeling that this year's AFC West is going to kind of be like what people got used to with the NFC West for so long, or or even the North and the AFC with teams just beating the shit out of each other, like the Ravens, the Steelers. Yep. Browns are actually good again, finally. But kind of looking for if we got any extra questions. I actually think that we're good on these questions. So anything random that you want to speak on before we give our final predictions?
Honestly, I don't have too much to say. You got any? I mean, you spoke about fantasy earlier. You got any fantasy sleepers?
Fantasy sleepers, that's always a cool question. I'm going to say Buffalo finally drafted a running back that's not named either one of the guys that they currently have. Buffalo would not draft a running back if they felt good about the 2 guys on their roster, Zach Morrison, Devin Singletary. I believe his name's Cook. Brian Cook, right? Alabama? Does that make sense? I feel that's what they got.
It's definitely Cook because he's Dalvin Cook's cousin.
I believe so, yes. He's I know he's a blood relation. He could be a sleeper, possibly like a mid-level, like almost when you're getting into that freeze zone. In my league, we're allowed to freeze up to 2 guys after round 10, like round 10 or after. He could fall into that category. Sleepers. Thinking of the quarterback position. Tell you what, it might not happen immediately, but once Malik Willis takes the reins in Pittsburgh in Tennessee for real, I actually believe that he might be that dude in a couple of years. I wouldn't put him there just yet. I mean, if somebody's feeling kind of good about freezing him and waiting on him, then yeah, I do believe that. I'll give you a fantasy sleeper, and he's not a guy that you ever think about fantasy. Bless you.
Excuse me, sorry.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. Not one of your favorites, but I actually think Carr could have a career year because of the weapons that they're giving him. You got Waller, you got Devontae Adams, and he has a history with Devontae Adams. So, yeah, I'd actually say that he could be a sleeper. I mean, he was my backup last year in fantasy, and he wasn't bad. He just didn't do anything great, but he did a lot of things good. this could be the career year because of the fact that he has all that help. And the Raiders kind of said, you know what, we're believing in you and we're bringing you back. Personally, I think they wanted Aaron Rodgers, and they just couldn't get him.
Yep.
But they did get Aaron
They'll
Rodgers.
never admit to that.
No, and you're not supposed to. And not for nothing, dude. If I played the quarterback position, and if you were thinking about getting rid of me because of Aaron Rodgers, it's kind of like what Jameis said. Jameis is like, yo, I'm good, but look who you got rid of me for, the fucking GOAT. I'm not going to feel that bad. He's Tom fucking Brady. Sure. So I think it's a good way to look at it as a competitor, and you never want to concede defeat, even if in your most logical mind you know that somebody has something you don't. Carr does a lot of things good. He doesn't do a lot of things great, but he's a gritty competitor. I respect him. But when you look at the other three dudes, they're all going to the Hall in that division, barring injuries to Herbert and Mahomes. They're all Hall of Fame bound. I mean, shit, Mahomes might already be locked for the Hall of Fame, and he's so young still. But we're going to go over these predictions. This is what you gave me for your Chargers. Trap games. What is there like a particular trap game that, or maybe a home game that you don't wake up in time for and you just like sleepwalk? Is there one that stands out to you? Any game? I imagine the Rams game's got to be exciting. You can't fall asleep for that, but
absolutely on the Rams game. Games I could care less about. I think Chargers 49ers on November 13th. I think it's going to be slow. I think the 49ers are going to look like they're going to win for most of the game, and I think we're going to win in like 5 or 2 minutes and then move on.
I believe that I did pick the Niners to win that one, but oddly enough, I picked you guys to do better than that. So 10-7, and in your opinion, where would that put you to finish in the division?
I think 7-7 makes us first in the division. I think we sweep the Chiefs. I think we lose 1 to the Broncos. I think we sweep the Raiders.
All right. This is interesting. And I might be buying a little too high here. I actually picked you dudes to go 11-6. The only difference is I got you finishing third in the AFC West. Basically, I got you, the Chiefs, with the same record. I have the Chiefs edging. Why, I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to sweep you, but they might.
Yeah.
I got the Raiders winning the division, but the funny part about that is I don't have the Raiders going far in the playoffs. I think the Raiders might be one of those like regular season darlings that shits the bed in the playoffs. Basically, I got the Chiefs and the Chargers both at 11-6. I got the Raiders at 12-5. I like the Raiders defense. I like the way that they're spacing out their overall roster. Chandler Jones, great pickup, similar to what you guys got Mac. They re-upped Max Crosby, gave him some big money. Darren Waller's still there, like I said, excellent. The running back's got to stay healthy. Jacobs needs to stay healthy. Who's their backup quarterback? I'm not sure. Oh my God, dude, Mariota's not there anymore. If Carr got hurt, their backup is Mike Glennon.
No way. Is it really?
Yeah, dude. I don't know how I remembered that, but it just like slapped me in the face. Maybe just because I'm happy he's not with my team anymore. Literally the worst fucking quarterback in the NFL. And why do I know this? Because I actually had to watch this douchebag last year. Fucking awful. Fucking awful. Everybody could talk all their shit about Daniel Jones. Let me tell you something. I missed Daniel Jones last year when he got hurt. Ultimately, my final prediction, like I said, 11-6. I got you guys making the second round. We'll see. I mean, this is so far off, so it's not even past the regular season. I think it's stupid to go anywhere past that.
Sure.
So we'll move up to my team here. I to be honest, I wouldn't be upset at all if that was our final record. Um, but I would say your 6-11 prediction, although it still shows improvement, that would be like a worst case scenario, meaning that we lose a lot of the close games, which we might. The funny thing is, I kind of flipped it into a best case scenario for 10-7. And once again, I might be going a little too high here. I mean, you average it out, 7 or 8 wins in between your pick and mine. I would say the toughest thing for the Giants this year is going to be learning to win. But I do think they're going to be in a lot more games. But, finishing games out, that's the difference between being a playoff team and being what you said, 6-11.
As a Chargers fan, I know that way too well, unfortunately.
I'll be called out by a lot of my friends that are even Giant fans that have been on the show and say that he's a little too optimistic. But I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty for the playoffs. It's been a long time, and you got to understand, man. Last time we went to the playoffs, we got our doors blown off by the Packers, and it was so bad. And the time before that, we won a Super Bowl, but only 2 times in the last decade the Giants have been in the playoffs, and we haven't won a playoff game since the 2011 season. So we're overdue. But one thing I will say about both our teams moving forward, I do believe that both teams are in good hands. I do believe that both teams are headed in the right direction. I think the one thing we disagree on, you feel strong enough that the Giants are probably not going to have Daniel Jones past this year. I might be in the minority. I actually believe that he's going to play well enough for them to want to keep him around. But time will reveal that. And I want to make a quick mention. I do like the Tyrod Taylor pickup. Not so much because he's going to play. I mean, he might. Jones has a habit of getting injured. But more so, with Tyrod coming from Buffalo, he was the quarterback right before Josh Allen. And he actually took them to the playoffs before Josh Allen did. He knows that system so well. And he's a great teammate. So I think from like the backup level, he's going to motivate Daniel Jones, and he's going to show Daniel Jones how to be a better professional. Because the truth of the matter is, when Daniel Jones replaced Eli, I feel that it happened a little too quick. I think it was a little too knee-jerk. And Eli's an excellent dude and a good teammate, but I don't necessarily feel that it totally worked in Jones's favor. I'm sure that Eli showed him how to be a real professional and be a classic dude. I mean, I think Daniel Jones is a good kid. But in terms of the mentorship, I think it had to be awkward because I don't think Eli was exactly ready to give it up. And it was a little unceremonious the way it happened. So take it as you will. And, him and your boy Rivers coming out at the same time. It's kind of shitty to see it end like that. Even Phillip Rivers wasn't too pleased just from a competitive level because, those two had a lot of respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you boys have a good chance this year, Zach. Guys got a good team. Definitely
do. Good on the paper. Let's see if they show up is the thing.
Yeah, that's always the case. Wish Elliot could have been here tonight. He got a little tied up. But we didn't have to talk about the Cowboys. So
Thank
you know
God.
what? Yeah, that's okay too. No, Zach, I really appreciate you being on the show, dude. You are, like I said before, always welcome to be on here pretty much whenever you want to be. Love your insight. Love having you on. And when football season starts, dude, we don't live that far. Definitely want you to come over and, definitely watch some games, dude.
Oh, that'd be tight.
I am going to be attending the Jacksonville Jaguar New York Giants game. And I looked up the tickets, bro. They're actually really cheap. I know that you don't necessarily have – I know that neither one of them are your team. But if you want to catch a game, I know we're going to be kind of rolling deep for Big Blue. So you should definitely come out, man.
Yeah, true. Maybe I'll have to check it out. We'll see. I'm always down for a football game, man.
For sure, bro. I actually have never been to Jacksonville. I've been to Tampa a couple of times.
Neither have I. I've been to Tampa and Miami, but never Jacksonville.
Been to Tampa. Been to Miami. Yep. Been to Miami, and I've seen Giant games. Home and away. I feel like I'm forgetting a game. Am I? No, I don't think I am. Yeah, Tampa, Miami, MetLife, I'll probably remember when we go off the air somewhere else that I forgot that I was. But yeah, I was like I said, I was bummed about that Lambeau thing, bro. I really wanted to finally see Lambeau, but random story, we have a Giants fan that does like a lot of artwork and makes these awesome ass pictures of like iconic Giants moments, and he sells them for like charity sometimes.
Yeah.
Things like that. I believe that he's doing a couple of them this year to kind of raise some money for himself to go, because this dude lives in England and he's like a diehard Giants fan, which is super rare. So Tony Little, if you end up seeing this, big shout out to you. Even though I'm bummed that I'm not going to Lambeau, I am like happy that you're going to get to see the Giants, because, you know, one of the biggest Giant fans I've met, and, you know, being across the pond, you know, it's got to be tough. He hasn't been to a home game yet. So Giants are undefeated in England. So I was telling my friend and my dad's friend, John Olson, if I'm going to honor my dad, it probably works out better that I'm not rooting against the Packers that day. And with them playing the Patriots, it don't get any better than that. And the funny thing is,
100%.
we play the Bears that day. So I'm going to be wearing my giant blue watching a Packer game. I'll have Packer fans give me that just because we'll probably be beating the shit out of the Bears. So I guess we kind of root for each other that day. But awesome talking to you, dude. You did a great job. And we're going to get back on this in the near future, bro.
Of course. Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. And if you care to BS for a little bit, we're going to get out of here. We keep talking for a minute. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. T-shirts on the way. Take care, guys. Subscribe on YouTube.